This skill training video will be based around learning to pass and shoot for soccer. The learner will be Fleur and the teacher will be Christina. When teaching any skill, there is always 3 stages to learning for each individual. These 3 stages were created by physiologists Fitz and Posner in 1967, and the 3 stages include of the cognitive stage, the associative stage, and the autonomous stage. The first stage is the cognitive stage. This stage will consist of the learner developing the movement patterns and being introduced to the skill. The learner here will have many questions and the teacher should expect inconsistency and many errors which will be gross in nature. The next stage for the learner to progress to will be the associative stage. This stage includes of the refinements of the movement patterns that have been learnt in stage 1. The learner here should become committed to refining one particular movement pattern that will work best for them. Here it is expected to see more consistency and the errors will gradually reduce. The teacher will still need to provide effective feedback to help guide this skill refinement and error detection. The last stage that the learner might progress to is the autonomous stage. At this final stage, the skill learnt should become virtually automatic for the learner and the performance will reach the highest level of proficiency. The learner's attention here during the stage should be strategized to decision making. And at this stage, the teacher's job will be minimal, but still needs to be responsible for a practice design and the final error detection. The 1D classification of the skill can be defined as a gross skill, discrete, and a closed skill. But however, during a game setting, this can change to a continuous and an open skill due to the influence of multiple other players. The 2Dification for the skill would fall under the category of number 16, which has been circled. This is because it shows body transport as well as object manipulation. We have broken down this skill into 4 stages: the stance, the preparation, the kick, and the follow-through. The first step is the initial stance. At this stage, the learner will need to place their supporting foot right beside the ball. This will help the learner have a balanced shot, and the verbal cue should be place foot beside the ball. The preparation phase will consist of the swinging of the kicking leg back. This needs to be taught because it will assist in the momentum of the kick. The verbal cues will be for swing, kick, leg backwards in preparation for the kick. The next stage is the kick, and at this stage it should be taught the learner to kick the ball with the middle of the foot. This will help with the accuracy of the pass or the shot. The verbal cue for this will be kick the ball with the middle of the foot, as seen in this picture. The last stage is the follow-through, and this will be beneficial because it creates a smoother motion, more power, and more precision in the direction of the pass. The verbal cue should be swing the kicking leg forward after the kick. Those 4 steps is the final breakdown of the entire skill. Learners may struggle with the learning of the skill at the start, so it is important to give them the positive feedback through these early stages of learning to continue to motivate them. 2 tests will be performed before and after to test the accuracy and the precision of the skill learned. The first test will be a quantitative test, and this is a trial error. The setup on this test will involve a 2-minute timer of seeing how many times the learner can pass the ball to the coach. As seen here, Fleur, the learner, is passing to Christina, the teacher, and returning again. This should be done for 2 minutes and then recorded to see how many times the passes occur. Also here, we need to test the accuracy of the shooting. So the learners should stand 10 meters from the goal and see how many times they successfully shoot the ball throughout the 2 minutes. These tables represent what should be expected to see as a progression of the learner. Over the 4 weeks, you can see that it gradually increases. This has been chosen to be part of our program based on the Russell, Benton, and Kingston study, finding that both these tests have been beneficial. The second test that will be performed will be a qualitative test, and we'll look at the specific goal. This test will require the learner to place a cone in the middle of the goal and from 10 meters back have to take 20 shots. This is seen here by the arrow. We will have to also record how many times the cone has been hit. The second part of the test will require the learner to pass from 3 meters back towards the cone and to also take note of how many times the cone was hit. These 2 tests will also look at the accuracy of the kicking. These two graphs here states what the expected progression to see for the learner over the 4 weeks. However, every learner will be individual and these can vary greatly. These two tests here should also be done after the 4-week training program. The retention test should be done 2 weeks after, and the transfer test should be done to just see how the learner can adapt to the different situations. An example of the transfer test is implemented when having the learner pass and shoot while the body is in motion. Positive feedback should be used in this case. So firstly, it is high importance to encourage the individual with cues to promote positive self-talk within the individual. By increasing their self-talk, the individual will regain confidence and think positive about achieving this task. By simply using cues as "you got this," as seen in the picture here with Cristiano Ronaldo, this increases the motivation by verbal and concurrent feedback. This will occur while the action has been carried out. Visual skills and terminal feedback should be demonstrated after the action to demonstrate error and lead to correction. Terminal feedback should be given by using the recorded activity of the individual, as well as footage of the athlete to compare and instruct where errors have been made and trying to correct these. All in all, by providing appropriate feedback to the client, motivation, reinforcement, and corrections of errors will occur by either rewarding or correcting the skill with positive verbal feedback. It was decided that over the 4-week program, mass and distributed practice will be used on rotation. This has been found to be a suitable approach for beginners as it will retain most of the skill knowledge. A study stated by Ali in 2007 said that to train longer than 90-minute period will lead to the shooting and passing skill to be maintained for longer. Therefore, in our program, we have stated that in the first week there will be one session that lasts 110 minutes, and in the second week there will be 4 30-minute sessions. These will be able to focus more on the precision and the success of the shots taken. Thus, as seen in the figure demonstrated, is a draft of our training program over the 4 weeks for the participant. The rest periods of each of these will also be longer or equal to the task that has been undertaken, linking back to the distributed practice. The asterisks that have been put for the first session of each week will also be stated where the qualitative and quantitative testing will be taken each week. In this slide here, it is demonstrating some progressions and regressions for the stages of passing. We have added 4 in, being static passing, triangular passing, one-touch passing, and pressured passing. This slide here will now look at the stages of shooting and the progressions and regressions. The 4 we have added in here are also static shooting, moving ball shooting, goalkeeper shooting, and pressured shooting. These should all be implemented throughout the program when needed. The final part of the presentation will look at the different transfer of learning and how it can be positive and negative. Firstly, looking at the positive transfer, this is when a previous learning experience will benefit the current learning skill. An example can be if the learner has had previous experience in AFL. Kicking the ball along the ground in AFL is actually very similar to kicking a ball in soccer and can benefit the current learning skill. A negative transfer of skill can be seen if the learner has previously played hockey. In hockey, there is a penalty when the foot touches the ball. This could have a negative effect on learning the current soccer skill.